Joe Blanchard, Watershed Program Manager on the Umpqua National Forest. I'm going to talk with you about the fires of 2017 and different types of fire severity and what that means for our trees and landscape. When we analyze the effects of wildfires on our forests, we describe them in terms of low, moderate, and high burn severity. Low severity fires occur from backing or creeping fire behavior and result in an understory burn. We see low tree mortality and less impacts to soils and watershed from this type of fire behavior. And this was by far the most common type of fire that we've seen on the Umpqua in 2017. In moderate severity fires, we see a mix of tree torching and understory burn. Tree mortality is common, but isolated trees or groups of trees survive to provide a seed source for future establishment. High severity fire can result from stand replacing crown fires with soils that have been damaged from exposure to high temperatures. Burn patches in this condition are at the greatest risk of erosion, especially during the big storms typical of this region during the wintertime. As the fires near containment, Forest Service pulls together a BEAR team, including hydrologists, soil scientists, engineers, rec managers, to evaluate the immediate threats in a post-fire environment on Forest Service lands.
So typically in this post-fire environment, there are 3 phases of recovery. The first phase is to repair some of the suppression work that came in, repair our dozer lines, put in water bars. The second phase is the burned area emergency response, where we're dealing with imminent post-fire risk to our critical values. And then we go into the third phase, which is our long-term recovery phase, where the vegetation side of the vegetation intensity and severity of the fire comes in, and how are we going to get these forests back to fully recovered.
Yes, I'm Steve Markey. I'm the forest engineer here on the Umpqua. During the post-fire operational period, which can last sometimes as much as 2 years, depending on what the activities are, we are preventing hazards from impacting the public directly. Falling trees, rolling rocks. In some cases, we have roads that have deficiencies as a result of the fire. Structures are burned out, bridges, culverts, that type of thing. So some of these closures, even though the fire operations are over and you think, why can't we get out there and go and visit our favorite places, there's still a number of hazards that we have to mitigate.
So for locals interested in the North Umpqua Trail, different segments have been impacted by the fires this year. They'll all remain closed. We're going to have a lot of trees coming down over the winter, potentially some slides that we just can't prevent. Come the spring, we're going to evaluate the damage, fix it as can and as funds are available.
So the North Umpqua River, specifically what we're talking about now, had 2 areas that were heavily impacted by fire. This area here around Dry Creek and then around Fall Creek. So the fire burned right to the river and actually crossed the river in a couple of locations here. And now we have a lot of large trees, or we have some large trees that are falling into the river and actually becoming navigational hazards for rafters or people using the river, actually rafters and kayakers on the river. And unfortunately, those can be very dangerous. You can get caught in those logs. So what we're planning on doing in these areas that were really heavily impacted, and we do have a number of large logs, is we're continuing to keep that closure in place, hoping a lot of those flush with some of our high water events this winter. And what doesn't flush, we will mechanically go in and do some removals of those logs at a later date.
Wildfire is a natural process in the forests of Southwest Oregon. We have fire on the landscape more frequently than our neighbors to the north or along the Coast Range. Typically, our fires start after lightning storms in late July and early August, and that's exactly what happened this year. In early August, the forest received hundreds of dry lightning strikes, which started numerous fires across the Umpqua.